Hello, fiber folk. Welcome back. My name's Trent. I'm the Weft Right, and welcome to my porch this time. I'm going to be using some chemicals and getting a little messy, so I didn't want to do this in my fiber art studio where I film most of my videos. Today, we're going to be restoring a reed. If you follow my vlog last year at the Anything Fiber sale, I bought 2 weaving reeds that were a little bit worse for wear, and I got them for super cheap. I think I paid $3 for this reed. It's a 10 dent reed from the Whitaker Reed Company. And though it's probably usable, there's a little bit of rust staining, and I want to make sure that I take care of that so nothing gets on my weaving when I'm using that. And if this technique works really well, I'm probably going to do it on some of my older reeds that I've been using for years anyway, even though they don't really have any rust transfer. Just be nice to spruce them up a little bit. Without further ado, let's get to it. So the items we're going to need for today's experiment are, of course, gloves to protect your hands. I have also put a tarp on the table to protect that. We're going to use RLC, rust, lime, and calcium cleaner. Some paper towels. You could also use newspaper. I bought this 3-brush set at Harbor Freight for very little money. We're probably going to be using the plastic bristles and the brass bristles, but not the steel. And some cling film. Anything will work, really. We just want to be able to seal in the reed. All right, the first step in prep is to lay out my saran wrap or cling film, whatever you want to call it. I want to have a piece that's twice the length of the reed. I hate working with this stuff, but sometimes it is the best product for the job. And then I'm going to lay down some paper towel. We use a double layer. That fits perfect. Then I'm going to put on my gloves. These are the only gloves that come in my size. They're nitrile gloves. I really love nitrile. They're resistant to a lot of chemicals. And even though these are a 2X, they're still very tight on me. All right. So we're going to open up our tool set. As I said, probably going to work with the plastic bristle tool and the brass bristle tool. This is made out of, the reed is made out of carbon steel, and I think if I use the steel brush, it could put scratches in here, which could wear down my yarn, so I'm going to avoid using that if possible. So now it's time. Let's go ahead and spray some of our RLC. It used to be CLR. I don't know, maybe this is the cheap version I got at the Dollar Tree. But we're going to saturate both sides of the reed. Interesting smell. It kind of smells like cantaloupe. I'm not too concerned about the paper that wraps the outside of the reed. The reed markings are on the end caps. All right, I'm going to put another piece of paper towel down. You could use newspaper for this, but I wanted to, or I didn't have any newspaper. I wanted to use what's at hand. Now, if this were severely rusted, I probably wouldn't even bother doing this. But since this is just basically some staining, I'm just cleaning this to make sure there'll be no issues. So now I'm going to take my saran wrap, fold that over. Seal that around the edges. And I'm going to let this sit probably for about 30 minutes. All right, let's see how we're doing. Now, I didn't really mention why I'm wrapping it in the bag. First of all, there is water in this cleaning product, and I don't want to add to the rust problem. So I want to deprive it of oxygen, but also just want to keep it moist, because in fact, this product recommends for heavily rusted items that you actually soak it. And I don't want to soak the whole reed. You can see we're having some success already. Let's get our brush now. And once again, I'm not looking for perfection. That's gonna tear up that paper towel. So I'm not looking for perfection. As expected, these pieces of paper are coming off, but they're not necessary for the function of the reed. I'm going to get it a little more moist while I'm scrubbing. Oh yeah, this brass brush is working pretty well. Yeah, I'm not looking for perfection. I just want to remove some of these rust stains and be sure that it's not going to transfer to my projects. So I'm finding that going at a diagonal is working really well. And then I'm going to flip it around and reverse that diagonal. Oh, I forgot to put on my gloves. I'm not going to be in this for too long, so it shouldn't be an issue. Alright, let's flip this over. So this reed is the perfect size for my vintage loom, which I featured in my video about the shed regulator. It's about 20 inches. Only weighs about 18. Alright, let's turn this around again. Whew, that's an arm workout. Alright, at this point I'm going to remove this rusty mess and go in now with some paper towel. You can see everything that's come off. One thing that I am going to use the steel brush for is the ends. I want to be able to see, I can see it pretty clearly now, but I really want to be able to see the reed size clearly. So I'm going to take, oh, that's the plastic brush, I'm going to take the steel brush. Oh yeah, that's really digging in. Because I'm not worried about it scratching up the surface on the ends. Oh yeah, that's really nice and clean. Is it roughing it up at all? Actually, that's pretty smooth. I may try the steel brush on the rest of it as well. I was worried it was going to be too harsh, but the bristles are fairly fine. Ooh, that's working nicely. I can see some progress. Now, of course, the surface of the reed is really not what touches the yarn. It's in between the dents, or the oh, that is looking so much better. I guess there's no substitution for elbow grease. Try not to hit these cords too much. We want to keep those intact. They're like little strings in between each dent. That's how the spacing is managed, and I don't want to damage those strings or that cord at all. Just really hitting the spots that are particularly stained. All right. I'm gonna take my paper towels. Let's actually get a new piece. Test to see what's come off. Ooh, yeah, look at that shiny coming through. Nice. Sorry if I'm breathing heavily into the camera, I'm getting with it. Staining right there, let's get that. Some more concentrated stains down here. Let's see if I can take care of that. Ooh, nice. All right, that's looking pretty good. It's not perfect, but I never expected it to be perfect. But what's important is it's not rusty any longer. It's just discolored steel. Maybe that needs a little more attention over here. All right, the important thing for me now is to get all of this chemical off and wash my hands, obviously, because I forgot to put the gloves back on. I'm going to go rinse this off, and I'm going to hair dry it. I'm going to blow dry it to make sure that it gets perfectly dry, and then I'm going to do a treatment to prevent further rust, and that'll be it. All right, it's looking so much better. I dried it. I wanted to make sure that these strings were nice and dry, as well as the reed itself. And now to add a little bit of protection, there are several oils you can use, but I wanted to use a food-safe oil that also wouldn't go rancid. So I am using an LPS food-grade silicone lubricant. Love this stuff. I use it on all my looms if there's any squeaky parts. I also use it on my knitting machines. And what I'm going to do, just so I don't get any lint from the paper towel, is I'm going to spray a little bit on a cloth. And what's great about the food grade silicone is it is washable. You can wash it off pretty easily, which is not true of all of the silicone lubricants. And this is also just making sure I got all the rust residue out. And because it's an old towel, the pile of the towel is kind of going in between each of the dents in the reed. And then just to be sure, I'm going to go ahead and do some on the little metal ends. Can't really rub on this, but I'm going to dab some on just to help prevent that from rusting. And now we've got a lovely restored reed. Some areas I said are still a little bit stained, some areas are better than others, but I feel very comfortable using this on a project now, and it feels so much cleaner. It doesn't feel rough like it used to, so I think this will do very good at not fraying my yarns. I'm not going to do an official outro today. Just wanted to keep this video short. Have a wonderful week and keep on crafting.